Speaking moistly. Speaking moistly. 2 meters apart. Speaking moistly. Speaking moistly.
Haha! Welcome to Speaking Moistly. New format. Greg with me as usual on a Tuesday. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Enjoying this, post-apocalyptic movie we used to call a life. It's a very interesting thing we're living through.
It is. It is. I was talking to my friend this morning, and comparing our reality to 1984 has become a banal point.
Indeed.
It's become a boring sort of like, yeah, we know, we get it. It's like 1984.
It is
boring.
It is kind of funny how it's so trite now. Everybody's like, "Oh, I know, Big Brother's watching, right? But my Candy Crush score."
yeah. It's,
I don't know.
You would think that, these were cautionary tales, guys. There's red flags. There's red flags everywhere.
We got that.
Yeah, but a new season of Ozark. There's a new season.
It wasn't a cautionary tale. It was an instruction manual. We just did not realize it. Although I don't know. I don't think that Orwell was like, yeah, this is what Big Brother should do: crush people with gin. But I mean, there's a lot to that. Very, very interesting. So let's get into it. Jilly Davis is another host on Speaking Moistly. We hang out on Thursdays, and she's got a tweet out. And she says, presented Derek Sloan with my book, Wexit, The Reluctant Rebellion, today at his announcement of his new party. Very excited to have this man,
of integrity.
Of integrity, thank you. Bringing conservative values back to Canadian politics. Okay, so both you and I ran for the People's Party in 2019. And what's your take on Derek Sloan and his new yet unnamed party?
I think it's going to be called the True North Party, apparently.
Oh, really?
But,
okay.
Yeah. I am honestly very apprehensive of it.
Yeah.
We already have, Justin Trudeau dividing the country along all their different lines. And, the globalist-minded parties are very organized. And we have, outside of the CPC, we have the PPC. They're still trying to gain as much relevance as possible, and now Derek Sloan's coming in with his new thing. And then if you go to Alberta, there's Wexit, there's Wild Rose, there's Maverick, and it's like, is having another national right-wing party is that? I feel like that's only going to confuse people. May the best man win, and I think there's a lot more to be desired in right-wing Canadian politics in terms of being strong and challenging the media and saying what needs to be said. And it's like, if Derek Sloan does not come out swinging doing that, then I'm very apprehensive of this party. And unfortunately, I think it's just going to confuse people and, quite frankly, subvert the success of, we should be united. We should have a united front. Why can't these people, Sloan and Maxim, put aside their differences and push forward? And on that point, I believe Derek Sloan has said oh yeah, well, we're going to work together with Max or something. And it's well, is your party really going to be that strong if you're already sort of trying, this is just this is not how good politics works. Good politics works in saying we have one party. This is all you need to know. This is our one message. Everybody and their dog can get behind this because it's simple. Mm-hmm. It's simple. Effective politics is understanding how to communicate to the everyman, to the non-sophisticate, as Roger Stone calls it. And by having, no, guys, there's just two different parties and we like them both. That's already so confusing. So I'm very, very apprehensive of it. And, but hey, if he can come out and come out swinging with some really strong rhetoric, then I'm all for that. But
yeah, I mean, okay, there's a whole bunch of political parties across the spectrum. I don't know enough about you know more about the party than about Derek Sloan's party, True North Party, or whatever he's going to call it, or whatever it is called. I have no idea what to make of it. I heard that there is governing documents, which is something missing from the PPC, like a party constitution and leadership
Mhm.
criteria, and so that's encouraging. But at the same time, there are a whole bunch of small parties across Canada that have all of those things and don't field or don't get a candidate, don't get a seat. So what, I don't know. Like, is Derek Sloan going to come in with a big splash? Maybe. Is this a good thing? I don't know, because I don't know what I don't know what the reason behind him not joining the PPC is. What's the reason for that? Is there reasoning? What's the rationale? Is there was there a courting by the PPC for Derek Sloan to join them? I don't know, right? Like, and because I don't know any of these things, it seems like there's more to this, and it's hard to be like, why doesn't he just come and join the party? And right, because like there's the opposite could be said, right? And also, like, it's not like there aren't infiltrators. It's not like there aren't people who are, and I'm not accusing Derek Sloan of this, I'm just saying, who knows? But like, if you willy-nilly let somebody into your party who's a big get, and then all of a sudden they're like, we like this, but we don't like this so much. That's hard. That's hard to take, right? And so for whatever reason, whether they're infiltrators for their own means and ends or they're infiltrators for other people's means and ends, I don't know. But any of that would be intolerable. Carry on, sorry.
Yeah. I was gonna say, if they come out as a like far right party, like with further right positions in the PPC, that would actually be great, because then
Interesting.
Yeah, because it's you have to think of it as the Overton window, and unfortunately a lot of like conservatives have this very kind of like, well, it's not unfortunate. They're great, principled, intelligent people, right?
Yep.
And they'll look at what the left is doing and say they're so absurd, they're so ridiculous the way they exaggerate things, and they push and push and push, and it's like it's so insane, and they use these dirty tactics. They use effective political tactics. That's what that is.
Yeah,
and by exaggerating our points, by pushing the envelope on our side, we push the Overton window back in the other direction. And people might maybe say, "Oh, well, they're going to call us names." Yes, they are going to call us names. Like getting
you're going to get called names anyway.
Getting called names is like a sign that you're actually doing the right thing and that they're afraid of you. And case in point is, of course, south of the border. He said something about Mexicans. That was the very beginning of his campaign. Like, was that smear job? That was like when the going get tough, the tough get going. And I do also
racist.
Nice.
Yes.
But I do want to say, all this obsession over the Constitution, because I know a lot of PPC people are, there's no Constitution. I think that's kind of pointless. If you haven't noticed, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms doesn't really mean anything right now. So it's like, to think that some document for some party is going to save the country. It's the same thing as Norman Traversy saying, I took Trudeau to court. Therefore, it's going to, we're going to save the country.
Yeah, I think you're missing the point on it, though. The point on it is not that the document is going to save the country. The point on it is, one, it was important to a lot of former PPC candidates, important to a lot of people, enough that they brought it to the party multiple times. And two, they had 2 years to do it. They said they were going to do it. They said they were going to deliver it in the fall, then in winter, January 2020, then in the fall, then, don't worry about it, we've got an election to worry about. And it was like, okay, so it wasn't like they said, we're not going to do this because it's not important, and these are the reasons why. They said, we're going to deliver this, and then they didn't. And that's the issue. If I want to vote for somebody who's going to save this, who's going to fix this, I want to have somebody who can fulfill something basic that they promised before the 2019 election. And so, like, is the party constitution going to be bulletproof, ironclad? Somebody pointed out the CPC has a constitution and they just eject people willy-nilly. Like, they have a vote of their group, like they have a vote of their caucus, and they eject people. And I said, well, at least they have a procedure to do that. At least they have a procedure for people to say, we don't like what this member is saying, and we're going to address that in this way, and we've all agreed on this. PPC doesn't have that. And so, like, that to me, I don't know that that's asking a lot. Maybe it is. Maybe that's asking too much. Maybe it is. But I don't know.
I think I hear what you're saying, but also realize, like, you're basically saying you want the party to focus on catering to like a specific part of their base who are actually engaged, which I guess is good to like feed the base and everything. But it's like in the grand scheme of things, most people are not engaged. Most people will not read the Constitution.
Yeah, but what does it look
And
like?
I'm talking about if you're a serious party that's actually going to like win seats. You know, like most people don't engage and even learn about a constitution whatsoever. So it's not to say that
But the
a
people who are
constitution
building
wouldn't
the
be
party,
handy.
yeah, but the people who are building the party deserve that, don't they? Like the people who are building the party deserve to
I
know
think
that
it's
they.
I think it's a cope, honestly. I think that if and this is a big if,
Hold on,
if the
you got to define cope. I just want to. What is a cope?
so the problem with the PPC is we don't have a constitution. It's like, no, the problem is that we don't have an effective political strategy, and we aren't reaching more Canadians who agree with us. Like we don't have good propaganda. We don't have a good political strategy.
But that's
like,
misrepresenting. That's misrepresenting the core of the problem. You're saying we don't have a party constitution, and I'm saying they promised it for 2 years and they didn't deliver it. That's different. Those are different things.
Right. I'm saying that the problem is the fact that they're not treating it like a popularity contest and trying to become as popular in the minds of and the hearts of minds of Canadians. That is what is most important for the success of a political party. I'm saying it's a cope to say, oh no, actually the fact that we don't have a constitution, that's the problem. And it's like, I mean, sure, it's going to help people who are engaged in the party maybe feel more confident in this, that, or the other. But at the end of the day, the Constitution is not going to help this much larger problem, this much larger project. And sure, the Constitution might help eventually solve that next bigger problem. And I would agree with that. But
how do you
the way that people are like hung up on the Constitution thing, I think is a little.
How do you solve a problem with no process to address it? How do you okay, so if I've got a problem with the party, okay, and I say, you know, oh man, I'd really love to address this problem with the party.
This is turning into a debate. I like it.
It's interesting. I mean, but it's interesting, and I mean, like, I'm not trying to shit on anybody. I'm really not. Like, I want fundamentally, I want the party to do well. I just I can't sell something that I don't. Something that is missing something core for me. And the core thing that's missing for me is if I have a problem with something within the party, there's no way for me to address it within a formal process. Even if I get real serious and I have a real conversation with all the top brass of everybody, there's no formal process to address anything with. And it's like, okay, how does that if you get into government and you have 5 people, let's say you have 5 people who have seats, and you have a problem. Somebody says, I want to do this. And then somebody else says, well, I don't think that we should do that. How do you solve that problem? Like, you have to have the core, the basics down before you get into that situation, because you can't say, okay, hold on a second. Let's build this party constitution right now so we can solve this problem now, because you should have solved it before you were in that situation. So that's what I think. Like, I have a hard time with telling people we're going to definitely do this, because I can't advocate for anything. How can I advocate for anything if I can't formally address the party? Am I wrong? Like, if I'm wrong, I'll wear it, man. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. I don't want to be wrong. I would love to have lots of people go and fix things. I would love to have people who I thought were on the right side going and fixing things, but they're not.
I suppose my counterpoint to that would be, you know, you're talking about a future hypothetical when in reality, the actual PPC headquarters probably has plenty of fires to put out, plenty of tasks on their table, whether it's like, you know, securing an EDA member, securing a candidate, making sure their paperwork has to go through, blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, there's this hypothetical thing that the Constitution might help in the future, but there's also like the many, many grassroots things that they're trying to do now to actually make the party exist to begin with.
Yeah, but so how do you solve a problem if you don't have the basic core of the structure of how to solve a problem within the party? Like,
I would think aside from a constitution, even more important than a constitution, I would argue is like they should have an internship program. I think they should focus on that, like, you know, like weaponizing interns and volunteer work to help them with the task at headquarters. I would say that is a more important task than writing a constitution at this point, because you have the country on fire, you have a lot of people that want to help out, and you know the fact that they're not kind of like, I don't want to use the term grooming, but the fact that they're not like, you know, coaching people to better like use volunteer work in a more like meaningful way. I would actually say that's even more important than a constitution, because it can help people get involved right away. and try, like, I'm not saying that the Constitution, I'm not saying it's completely useless, but I think that it's kind of catering to the small minority that is, I would even go as far as saying, like, it's doesn't understand politics. Like, politics is really ugly and disgusting, and like to think that this Constitution is going to solve all of our problems, it's like, no, we need to become the most popular.
You're misrepresenting the importance of the Constitution. You're saying it's a solve all. It's not. It's an indicator of cracks of other issues. That's all. Right? You say, oh, it's going to solve all the problems. It's not. It gives me confidence. If it was done, it would give me confidence that they could do the rest of it. But as it's not done,
but again, I feel like that, once again, it's like coping with the fact that the party is not more popular right now. Because if it was more popular, if it was exploding in growth and like all over the news, who would care about the Constitution?
Everybody would care about the Constitution. You get to a certain point where a bottleneck.
I disagree. We'd be too busy. We'd be too busy putting out fires and fighting with the media.
You have to have a framework on how to solve problems within the party. You have to have that sorted out before you can represent anybody.
Again, but you're talking about you're talking hypothetical. You're talking about some hypothetical scenario.
But you're going to get to if you play the game out, right? If you play the game out,
okay.
And the coach's strategy. Let's talk about hockey.
Sure.
The coach's strategy is you get as many hits as possible. Don't worry about the puck. The puck will get in that net with as many hits as possible. And you say, why are you focusing on scoring goals? Why you just get those hits.
But dude, again, this is a hypothetical, because like it's not just like hits and like how many goals or how many shots. It's like, oh well, this candidate had an affair with an ex-wife, and then there was like some other like tweet from before. Like, what, we're gonna write that into the Constitution of how to deal with like an anti-Semitic tweet or something like that? Like, how do we even write that into a Constitution?
No, but if there's no Constitution, how do you solve a problem within the party?
Through authority hierarchy of whoever has the
So we're gonna throw away the pretend parliamentary system for a pretend dictatorship within a party. I don't think that's really a good idea. Like, everybody has to listen to him.
And this is what I said.
And that's what we've got with Trudeau right now.
And this is what I said. Like, this is how politics works. It's ugly. So to think that this Constitution is we're all gonna have a this, that, like, we already have the voting system in an EDA, for example.
The fact that you can't articulate any kind of solution to solving a party problem other than
you can't even articulate it. You can't even articulate a scenario that the Constitution would even apply to. You're talking about these hypotheticals
at all, at any level.
At any level.
Yeah, any problem with.
So like I stubbed my toe. Like, what do you mean any problem?
No, like with the party.
With the party.
With the party. Any issue at all. If you have an issue with the party, how do you get that addressed formally with the party?
I don't know.
I rest my case.
You call headquarters. I don't know, but
call headquarters.
This is silly, man. Because you're saying what? There's going to be a complaint box, and that's going to solve all of our problems. What do you mean?
No, because when you're solving difficult problems, and you sit down in a room with 5 people, and you represent 5 ridings, and you disagree, and one person disagrees with the 4 others, the one person being told shut up and sit down and do what the leader says isn't acceptable. If you don't have a way to address problems formally with the party to say, I disagree with this, then you have a bottleneck, because there are going to be people who look at that and say, I can't realistically take the next step, because if that person who's in the leadership role disagrees with me, they can do whatever they want, and I have no recourse. People will remove themselves from a situation like that, and they have. So like, I mean, I'm not like, again, like, you can say that the Constitution won't solve problems, but I'm asking you, how do you solve a problem within the party without one? And I really don't understand it. And like, if I'm wrong, I'll wear it. I'm fine. I'm okay to be wrong, but I'm the idiot who's saying, I'm pretty sure that you can't solve a problem like that. And if you can't solve a simple problem within the party, how can we fix the broader problems that are addressing Canadians? I don't understand it.
I mean, the only problem is us winning, not winning. You know, like that.
If we win, though, it's not us winning. It's one person winning, and their will. That's it. There's no dissent, which is the problem that we've got with Trudeau, right? The whole idea is to maintain democracy, and the idea of democracy is we have a say. We represent people, and if we disagree with each other, which is common when we are addressing difficult problems, we should have a way a framework to address it. And if we're trying to say the only problem is there's not enough of us in government, and you don't have a solution on how to solve a problem within the party, then like I would disagree, right? And I'm not saying that the current setup is better because it's autocratic and top down and not great, but I don't want to trade the frying pan for the fire, right? It doesn't make much sense to me, but maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think the harsh reality is that, you know, some people have better ideas than others, and somebody does need to be leading the ship. And I feel like this is actually reflective of a major problem that the Canadian right wing has right now, broadly, which is everybody is more individualistic, right? And so with this perception of the People's Party, it's like, okay, let's listen to what every single individual thinks about this single topic. And you're going to have a bunch of different, I think that, and like, you know, slightly different opinions here and there. And what this idealistic vision you're having of the Constitution is we can hear all of these voices and we're going to incorporate all of this. And it's like, well, quite frankly, we need to not listen to everybody and just focus on what's actually going to help us win and get power. And that might be really ugly to say and really like hard to listen to, but that's what is going to help us. What do you mean it's not realistic? Trying to listen to every single individual and incorporate every little feeling that every single individual conservative has. That's unrealistic, and it's going to get us nowhere.
That's not how a party constitution is written, and I don't think a party constitution addresses any of that. That's the party platform that you're talking about. A party constitution just governs how problems within the party are solved and how to address blah, 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 and how the party governs itself. That's all it does. And the fact that it was promised and not delivered, and the fact that I don't understand how to address an issue within the party is problematic.
Here's when it comes to the 2019 election, would you think the major problem because we didn't do well was because we didn't have a constitution? Do you think that was like the problem?
No. And at the time I said that we had more important things to deal with, which was dealing with the imminent election, which was we had a year to prepare because Bernier started the party in, August and was official in October? So there wasn't enough time to get party governing documents in place, according to Bernier, and I believed him because why not? There was no reason to not believe him, except that now Derek Sloan apparently has governing documents in place, which is strange. But at the time, I said, yeah, this is absolutely a reasonable ask. Who could get the governing documents in place as well as run a federal campaign with no money? Like, nobody can do that. And I made that case. I'm sure you could find tweets of me making that case. But the fact is, they promised that after the election, there would be governing documents. And then they said, in winter of 2020. And then, in fall of 2020. And then just forget about it. Don't worry about it. And that is not something that I think will cure all the party constitution, but it would give me faith that they were able to follow through on other things, and they didn't do it. And that's the issue. That's the crux of it.
Right. So it's not even about the Constitution then. It's about them.
Well, it's indicative.
We're going to write the Constitution.
The fact that the party constitution is absent. The fact that the party constitution is absent is indicative of problems, and that's what I'm saying. But I don't know what the problems are. I don't know what their rationale for not having a party constitution is. I don't know why Derek Sloan didn't join Bernier's party. I don't know any of these things, right? I can just come to conclusions based on the things that I do know. But the things that I do know is I want to sell something that I can say confidently, I can certainly appeal to these people and they will definitely listen to me and we can have a rational conversation. And if they've said that, and here's the governing documents that prove they said that. I don't have that. I can't prove that. I can't say I'm going to bring this forward and these people are going to listen to me and we're going to fight together for you. I can't say that because I don't know that. So it's like, it's frustrating, man. I'd love to. I'd love to be a full-throated supporter. I would love to, but I needed more in the last 2 years and I didn't get it. And it sucks. But I mean, here's the cards we're dealt, right? Welcome to communist Canada, I guess. Right. And like,
yeah,
it sucks.
And I suppose for a lot of PPC people, it's about feeling let down by the headquarters for not having that what they promised, essentially, and that's kind of the sentiment that I've heard from multiple people. I just look at it from the country's burning sort of standpoint, and it's like there's bigger fish to fry. And although it probably would be smarter for them to, just finish some sort of document, I see it for kind of honestly being kind of just like lip service for people in the party to be like, okay, here you go, here's your constitution, woohoo. But it has, once again, like nothing to do with saving the country. Maybe not nothing to do, but it's a far cry away from like what's actually going to get us anywhere. And that's kind of my final point.
Yeah.
Like that's my final sort of.
I appreciate the disagreement and I appreciate the debate. It was fun, believe it or not. I enjoy stuff like that.
It was.
So, thank you.
It was. First time we disagreed on a big point. Kind of exciting.
On an unrelated
It's already
note,
3:00.
I know, right? On an unrelated note,
Oh,
this is
no.
Greg's last show. So okay, let's blow through these. This is not really. You're coming back next week, right?
Yeah, I'll be here.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so grocery shoppers in the Republic of Cyprus may no longer shop at a supermarket if they don't have a safe pass. So that's one. And number two is protests have erupted across Europe. Anti-vaccine passport protests have erupted across London and France and everywhere that's trying to implement them. But they're moving ahead anyway, coming to a communist Canada near you. Maybe. What do you think? Like, what is going on that grocery stores need vax passports, and how easy will they be to make your own, like to hack?
Let's see. It's 2021, so it's totally reasonable. 2020, of course, it was a crazy conspiracy theory, vaccine passports. But I mean, I really, you love to see the defiance that's happening in France.
Yeah.
With people just completely filling the streets.
Yep.
And it's so funny because you turn on the news in Canada, it's like that never happened.
No.
And really even before lockdowns, that was kind of the case, right? Like you had like the yellow vests in the streets of France for a year, like all year they were protesting, and it's like nothing's happening in France right now, but now it's even more aggressive. So obviously I think we're on the same page here. It's like I love to see people standing up everywhere to fight it, and it's completely the vaccine. The people say, oh no, we've had immunization records before, but it's like the diseases for immunization much more deadlier than this, number one. And number two, what is it there? Oh yeah, the shots actually worked for those things. Like, the shots actually worked for polio. Like they consistently works.
Well, and they didn't kill. They didn't
point. I think that's an important tidbit of information.
Yeah, and they didn't give the heart myocarditis, and they didn't give the blood clots. These things are important things, and it's very strange. Allegedly, yeah. Well, whatever. Yeah. But it is a really strange thing to just have all of that kind of brushed under the rug, and then say, listen, if you want to not starve, you're gonna take this little. Have you ever played Russian roulette? Well, it's kind of like that, right? So yeah, it's very interesting to watch the people stand up en masse and say not a chance, bucko. We're not doing this, and you can't make us. But the thing is, the last I heard, so France typically they're out in the streets on the weekends. I think we're going to start seeing people through the week. I think we're going to start seeing protests build through the week as this carries forth. The tear gas that was procured by the government early on in last year makes a lot more sense now, eh?
Oh my God!
You remember that?
I didn't even think of that. Yeah. It's this will come in handy when we create passports for going into Loblaws.
Yeah. When
crazy, man.
Yeah, and supply chain issues. Blah blah blah. Last story for today. We'll do City of Guelph to undertake inventory of street names through anti-racism lens. Communist takeover. So we have our own Dundas Street in Guelph. It's right by the university. I know, right? Everybody was like, I can't believe that. So they don't. The quote, I think, is, it's so new that we don't even really know what we're doing. No, maybe I'm paraphrasing here. But she said, oh yeah, we are early on in the process, so much so that I don't know what the process is, said Dana Evans, General Manager of Culture and Recreation for the City of Guelph. Yeah. Is that a want want?
Yeah, that was my phone notification. Sorry
Oh,
about
that's
that.
funny. I thought you were like pushing a want want noise.
Wah, 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 wah. That's
That's funny.
really. I love when news articles publish that in black and white.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's like, you printed this in a newspaper.
Yep.
Like, that's your quote, is we don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't know how fast we can take action. Yeah, I mean, I made a funny TikTok about this, which was basically like, hey, they're changing the name of Dundas Street. And it only costs $5 million. I'm like talking to some homeless guy. I'm like, hey, like, are you excited about the street name change? You're pumped about it? Well, you're part black. You know, this is going to help you, isn't it? Oh, what's that? You're living on the street and you don't even know what I'm talking about? Oh, it's very much this, like, you know, social justice masturbation that it's like Champagne socialists love it.
Yes.
You know, oh, we changed the name of the streets. Oh, isn't that so great? So now all the blacks can feel better. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What did you just say? Like, you know, it's very like
30 Rock. It makes me think of 30 Rock and Jenna and like the backhanded compliments. Like, did you watch 30 Rock?
I'm watching it right now.
Are you?
I'm in season 1. Yeah.
Crazy.
I'm loving it. The show is such like goofy humor, but it's also like very political and very like smart.
Oh yeah. Well, and I mean, like, I think that there's a lot with the right kind of eyes. There's a lot to see in 30 Rock upon a second viewing. But like just the surface stuff, it's quick. Kenneth, I love Kenneth. There's so much there, but the backhanded compliments, it feels like that. All right. I think we really front loaded this one. I think there's a lot we talked about at the beginning of the show, and then the end was just kind of rushed. But I think we put a lot into this show.
Yeah. I mean, we let the conversation flow, right?
It does.
We should probably name this, like, you know, debating the Constitution, because that's what like most of this video was.
Yeah.
Just
okay.
fine.
That'll probably be the name. Debating the Constitution. Send that to me in a text, so I don't forget. Very cool.
Thanks for having me. You can find me on my YouTube channel, Greg Wycliffe. I still have one. And then also on Twitter. I didn't mean to rub it in. I'm just, you know, letting
I won that debate.
TikTok and Twitter at GDDDDUB. Thanks for having me, Mark.
Always, man. I'm looking forward to next week as well, when we will be discussing. I was trying to think of a really controversial topic, but I can't.
Round 2.
Yeah, round two. Constitution round 2. It'll be fun. You can check my stuff out at CanadaPoly.com. Not on YouTube, on Rumble and Odyssey and all the other ones, BitChute as well, because YouTube doesn't like me so much. Although I uploaded a new one to Canada Poly Shorts, and I'm only 4 away from 500 subscribers, so that's pretty cool. And what else? I don't know. Check out all the things that we do. We work hard, and we do it for you, so lots and lots of fun. Thanks for watching, everybody. And here's the Prime Minister to play us out. Oh, it's on this one. Here it is. All right. It's not going to play. Oh, I pushed the wrong button.
Speaking 2 meters apart, speaking moistly. Speaking moistly. Keep 2 meters apart, speaking moistly. Oh, what a terrible image.